Hello and welcome to the 10th episode of The Save. We've wiped the club's debt, we've had a takeover, we've got a bumper transfer budget for next season, we've had a big European push, but we've not done so well in the league and we've had a few injury worries. But I'll unpack all that, we'll get to the end of season review and we'll see how we're doing as we get on to the next stage of Build a Nation. And here we go, first place to start with really is the board. We've had a board takeover. Not really much in terms of what we have to do, just keeping their contracts down for low. But what of note is they're looking to build a new stadium. Not seeing any plans for it yet, but that's going to be significant in terms of generating funds moving forward. Turning us into one of the biggest clubs of Croatia, getting to the top of the league and really taking this save to the next level. So that is massive in terms of us. What that's done in terms of the finances is it's wiped the club debt completely. We've now got 2.6 million in the books, in the balances. We've got no debts. Our projection over the next couple of seasons takes it up to 11.1 million. And what that means for the transfer window is we've got 1.15 million to spend. So the first time we've had any kind of transfer money really to speak of whatsoever. And we've also got £12,500 per week in the wage budget. It's going to be quite significant. I think there's going to be a lot of change. Probably the biggest transfer window yet. I know we've got quite a number of transfers made already from opportunities they've picked up through the scouting centre, and I know we've got quite a number of players who are going to be leaving as well. So I think we've got about 9 out, 9 in as it stands now before we do anything. There's a few more we want to move on. We'll save all that for the next episode in the transfer episode, but in terms of what we're doing, new stadium, a bumper transfer budget and the debt wipe, so finance wise we're absolutely magnificent. Next we just have to get into how the season went, how it finished from when you saw us last time, which I played all the way through. I've been away on a week's holiday, got the bug when I got back and just blasted through the rest of the season. So I'll get through to the end of the season review and I'll show you what happened. And here we go then. So what was quite a pivotal season into the Europa League in terms of the transfers, and it'll be very difficult for you to pick out which ones are the best here because the board, because there's been a board changeover, any transfers made before the new board came in, they will just give you a non-indication there. But Luka Lukanic came in as a 24-year-old midfielder. I think he's a fantastic acquisition. He's easily our best central midfielder. He was out for a number of weeks injured, I think 6 or 7 in total, which did hamper us a little bit in terms of that rotational spot. But 24-year-old Croatian, one of the better players at the club, absolute blockbuster signing really late in the transfer window, but he was our player of the season. 43 appearances, 4 goals, 4 assists, 6.99, so a really good average, nearly up at the 7s. Next was Nikola Simic. Brought him in as a left back. He became first choice quite quickly. However, he twisted his cruciate knee ligaments and was out for 7 months. So he only played 5 league games and 5 Europa League games really early in the season, and he missed the rest. So in terms of a signing, I think it would have been a positive in terms of capturing a player of that magnitude. I mean, that was 2 players from Dynamo, so really picking them from the cream of the crop. And there's a theme there. We're taking them from all the top players, but from the top teams. But he didn't get the number of games he wanted. Silvio Alinkovic, we'd had already previously on loan. We got him in on a permanent in that central midfield role as we transitioned from deep midfielders to central midfielders. And I think we ended up going back towards the end of the season. But a really good solid work rate. He's a perfectionist. He's 25-year-old. He's Croatian. He ticks all the boxes. He's got a bit more potential left in him. So again, another really tremendous signing for us in terms of building the squad and taking us to the next level. Simon Hrgovic is a player you won't have seen. He's another left back we got from Hajduk on loan just towards the end of the season because Simic was out and Kvijanovic, he picked up an injury. So for 11 games we brought in Hrgovic. Really solid player. I'd like to keep him longer if we can. He's got a bit more potential in him. His contract is due up in the summer, and if when he returns from loan we can get a sneaky little sign in there for him, we'll try and pick him up on a permanent because I'd really like to keep him in the squad for that kind of homegrown mentality as well. But we can't make an offer until his loan's finished, so that's Hrgovic, a really good player. Pedro Kiprich, I brought him in as an opportunity because I thought he might help us get some more goals, put him on the right hand side, and it's a bit of a theme in the season. Our wingers were just failing a little bit, they weren't consistent, they were picking up injuries. George, who had a great season last season, the Romanian, he was terrible towards the end of the season. I couldn't get a tune out of him at all. Petko wasn't really firing. Ormaric picked up injuries and wasn't firing. Kovacevic on the other side, he wasn't firing. So I mean, again, I brought him in to try and kind of put some competition and get some goals on that right hand side. Made 7 appearances, got 1 goal, 1 assist, but he was on quite high wages. and I think you have to probably tick that up as a bit of a mistake on my part. Gabriel Joresco, we picked him in the summer as a new right back. He played 39 games, 4 assists, 1 goal. Really good player, gets up and down the wing all the way down that right hand side. So again, I think fairly solid signing. He's a tick, really well done. Domagoj Begonia, potential centre half. I think he didn't quite reach his potential. Didn't play as many games as he wanted. He got very grumpy and he's currently on the transfer list because he wants to leave. However, like Kvetko last season, I think we'll phase him back in and try and wring out that extra bit of potential. 22 years old, got some under 21 caps as well. So I'd like to keep him, but there's no guarantee on him. Rock Anisa, Slovenian midfielder. We brought him in to kind of bolster the midfielder. He's a 3-star, reached his potential threshold already. He's got some value in him. I think we'll probably look to cash him on him in the summer, replace him with some Croatian players or an absolute worldie of a midfielder. But really solid player, really consistent, just not first team ready. Leo Rimac, a striker from Dynamo, got him in on loan. I don't think we'll keep him. He didn't score a lot and he took a lot of games away from Sekulic, who I think I should have played more. Probably because of the loan agreement and trying to keep Dynamo happy and keep the squad up, I played him more than I maybe should have. 14 games in the league, getting 6 goals, so not a terrible return. But I just don't think he's well-rounded enough to be with us long term. So an alright signing, I would give him a better than average. Zan Kovacevic, we brought him in as a young player to kind of play on either wing as a bit of cover. Got some pretty good stats on him, Slovenian. Again, might try and move him on and get some Croatian players in there. But yeah, average, alright, squad filler, nothing special. Probably again an average score. And then Gabriel Rukavina, he came in right towards the end of the transfer window. He's only made 1 appearance and 1 substitution. A-, getting on a low wage as well from Dynamo. Hopefully he's going to fix us a little bit on one of the wings. He can play both sides. He's pacey. He can dribble. He's not particularly good at crossing. Can first touch. Maybe play him as an inside forward, but we'll see moving forward. So that's the ins, which I think was pretty good in terms of the turnaround in the season. It was a late transfer window last year, but overall I would probably give us a good B+ for that transfer window. In terms of the players out, Pavlic, Lukic and Z, which we got a transfer fee from and got the wage budget down, and Frankekovic, who was a cover at left back, moved all of them on. And then in terms of loans, we've started to put some of the youngsters out on loan. We started to pull in some fees for them as well. So Bognar, Karevsky, Kumic, Kvetko, Jovicic and Adzic are young players that we wanted to get out on loan for experience. Kargbo and Coyote, we were just wanting to get them off the wage budget and maybe get some kind of transfer fee from them. I don't think we had any offers for them on a permanent transfer fee, but hey-ho, we did our best to move them on, and we'll look to move them on again in the summer if their contracts haven't already expired. In terms of league, 5th, I think we finished 3rd last year, 5th this year. Not as good last year, and I put that down to the number of games we had to play, some of the injuries, and I don't want to make any excuses, but 5th is quite respectable. I think it's qualified us for the Conference League next season. And the telling signing is that Tobic was our top goal scorer from a central midfield position, who also missed 7 weeks through injury. So we're still not firing up top. The wingers aren't getting enough goals. The strikers aren't getting enough goals. We're going to have to find a way to kind of change that tactically to unlock the potential of the advanced players. And that will get us some more goals, because a -10 goal difference only just scraped us in there. When we play well, we play well. When we play bad, we play bad. And you can see that in the last 7 games we didn't win a single one, and we just managed to eke in. So the points we'd had already were probably just enough to creep us over the line. But realistically, even if we picked up 2-3 wins from there, it would get us beyond the 50 points and looking a little bit more comfortable. But we should be definitely looking to finish in that 3rd place as a minimum. We really need to start looking to get up towards 2nd, and the transfer window with a big budget and the wage budget will hopefully help us do that. So some good results in there. I don't want to say it's all bad. It was quite a good start. We got some good wins early on. Just towards the end it really did peter off, and we picked up some bad losses. In terms of the Europa League, this was where we really did shine. We beat Cluj, beat Larnakas and beat Genk in all the qualifying rounds to get to the group stage. Won all of them games. We didn't even slip up in any of them, which was fantastic. Then we got to the group stage at Warsaw. We beat 1-0, which was a good start. Astana was where we kind of slipped up a little bit. I feel we should be beating teams like that, but a 1-1 draw got us 4 points at that stage. Then we hit the big teams, so Marseille and Hispalis losing 3-1 and 4-1 respectively. A draw with Tel Aviv, which was actually a pretty good result in the end. And then we beat Ludogorets, Braga and Austria Vienna, all of which I think had already qualified as a minimum for the playoffs. So whether they'd taken their foot off the gas, I'm not sure, but we won't complain too much. I think Braga had a red card in that game as well. And then AEK Athens, we beat them 2-1 and they beat us 2-1, and we went out on penalties, which was a shame because I think we've gone really far. I think we would have been beaten the next round, don't get me wrong, but it would have been nice just to pick up a little bit more victory money. So, and then the Croatian Cup, we beat a non-league team 3-0 in the first round, and then Rijeka well and truly owned us in the second, getting beat 3-0. Moments to remember then, biggest win against Larnakas, which was also a goal of the season, was scored by Lukanic. And then the match to remember, 3-3 with Dynamo, which I didn't remember for the wrong reasons because we were 3-1 up with 2 minutes to go and they scored 2 late goals, so that could have been another 2 points for us. In terms of the finances and reputation, I think the reputation will go up. We've had a good run in Europe, we've qualified again next season, so I expect that to go up a little bit. Annual revenue went up in all aspects, most significantly in the prize money, which got us an extra 5 million. And in terms of the shirt sales, nothing too spectacularly out of place there, apart from maybe Rukovina, who's only just signed. He must be quite a favoured player in Croatia from the fans because he's jumped straight into the shirt sales despite not being there very long at all. How we lined up, probably about right. Kvjanovic, Jakic, Patel and Uresco. I think they'll all be here again next season, probably forming that same back four, with Kovacevic staying in goals as well, who signed a new contract. Lukanic and Ilinkovic probably going to still be there next season. Tolic might phase out to play 2 up top. Ormorovic and George, I think we might look to move them on because they've just not performed to the levels we want them to on wings, and we'll replace them with some other players in the transfer window. Not much to really speak to in terms of the player awards. Pretty standard. Tolic player of the season, young player of the season Kvjanovic. Lukanic doing pretty well as well, signing of the season and goal of the season. Sekulic got the most goals in a season and most goals in a match with a hat-trick, and Kovacevic got most clean sheets. And in terms of the manager timeline, not much to speak to really, but the club takeover, that is a significant event, and that's going to change the dynamics of the side moving forward. I think it will enable us to make the next step and become more competitive. It's certainly given us an extra 12,000 per week in the wage budget, which is going to be really good. Oliver Struntz is agreed to join Vukovar in a deal worth £7,000 from Rapid, so this is the first time we've spent any money. £7,000, what an absolute blockbuster deal that is. And then Sekulic broke the club record for 24 goals in a season, so that takes us through there. Only other things to look at is how teams performed in Europe to see how the coefficients went. Hajduk, I think, went quite far. Where we go, Champions League group phase, getting beat by Bayern, that's no shame, and Fenerbahce, Shakhtar, Juventus, so they probably had a bit of a rough ride in there actually, but they did well to get to the group stage. Who else did we have in there? Dynamo, same competition as us. I think they went a little bit further from what I can remember. Got to last 16, beat Marseille 2-1 at home, but got beat 1-0 away and then went out on penalties, so that's a bit of a shame for them, but good performance nonetheless. And let's look at, I think Osijek were another one who went quite far in the Conference League, all the way up to the semi-final where they beat Nice 1-0 in the first leg but got beat 4-0 in the second. So what that means in terms of the coefficients should be quite significant. Let's see, club coefficients, we were 12th, gone up to 56.825. That should push us past Belgium and catch us up a little bit with Greece. So yeah, it's going good. Another couple of good seasons, and we can eke up a little bit higher. We're in danger of getting to the top 10, which will be quite a good start to the save. The final thing to really talk through, and I mentioned it briefly, we've got a few transfers pre-arranged. I'm not going to go into them all in depth. They're just ones that have come up through the scouting network, but we've already kind of signed a right back and a centre back, and these will all be young, high-profile, high-potential players. So Nikolak and Lekvonjak is 2 defenders coming in. We've got 4 midfielders in Kalisic, Stankovic, Spahic and Stojkovic. Stojkovic I'm particularly excited about if he signs, although he's coming on quite significant wages from Dynamo. And then 3 attackers there, Zaravica, Necht and Strunz, who's cost us £7.25 thousand. So that's me really splashing the cash. That's going to hint towards a couple of strikers who can play on either wing if we revert to a one top striker, but also we've got a number of strikers so we can rotate through and maybe play two up top if we drop Tovic out of the team. But we'll see how that develops and how the formation changes and move forward. I'll get them all in. In terms of the actual squad, I've got it sorted by expiry, so you can see we've got 9 players who are dropping out. So Kiprich, Hrgovic, Rimac and Simak will return from their loans. Podobnik, Matic are just low potential players who we're not going to keep. Coyote, we want to move on. George and Hanulik, their contracts are going to run out. I still want to get rid of other players like Kargbo, quite keen to go. Pelko can probably move. Omerovic can probably move. So there's still room in the budget to move a few more players, but we'll leave that for the next episode. In terms of an episode itself, hopefully that's caught you up on how we did in the season as we transition forward. We've now got a bigger budget, we've got a bigger wage budget, we've got a new stadium on the way. It certainly feels like this save is starting to gather a bit of pace. And let me know any top tips for developing the nation as we move forward. I think I need to get lots of players out on loan to the clubs around me to make them more competitive. But having never done a Build a Nation save this far before, it's quite exciting to see what happens next. So until next time, where we'll go through all the transfers in depth and look at what we can do in terms of climbing up in the odds for being top dog. Enjoy your saves, enjoy Football Manager, enjoy the football. The Premier League starts next weekend, which I'm buzzing about. And until next time, take care.